it's me, Nikki. Welcome back to my channel. And today I'm doing my March wrap-up. I read 5 books. 2 of them were from Libby, the library, and 3 I owned. So I'll talk about the audiobooks first. There was Mariel of Redwall. I hope I remember to put the picture up because I think I forgot one time. But who knows what'll happen. And it was the... Oh, let me see. There's a lot of Redwall books. There it is. This is the 4th book in the Redwall series, or the 6th if you read it chronologically. I'll tell you about it first. It's about Mariel, and she arrives in Redwall after a long journey, and she meets up with the lovely little animals in Redwall, and they go on an adventure. So what happens in Mariel, there are sea rats, I think they're called, and they're like the pirates. And even though Redwall is inland, the 2 stories merge, as I think usually happens in Redwall. And things happen from there. I didn't like it as much as the other 3. The voices, I think I've said this before, it's fully voice acted. Different characters have different voices. I think Brian Jacques is the narrator, but everybody else, that is wonderful as always. The descriptions of food is fantastic. But I just didn't like it as much. I liked Mariel, but I don't know, it just wasn't. And Mariel and her whole plot was amazing. I love that. But everything else is sort of, I don't know. Maybe I was just listening to it because I wasn't like feeling it, you know? I was just listening to it to listen to something. Because I felt the same way about my other audiobook. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, the plot is essentially the same as the other ones. You know, Redwall Abbey is under attack, and they defend Redwall Abbey, much to the surprise of the attackers, because they're just, you know, not warriors really. But yeah, I don't know. I just don't know how to explain it. I wasn't feeling it as much as I really got into the others. There's still lots of... I put it as young adult. This might even be, they say middle grade on Goodreads. I don't know. It's pretty violent. You know, people die and they get pushed off of things and chopped off of things. So yeah, I'd still recommend the Redwall series. I might take a bit of a break from it, but yeah. And then the next one I read or listened to, the same thing in my opinion, it was Lyriel, the sequel to Sabriel, and it is about Lyriel, who is in a place that's like in the frozen north, and they're the Claire, and they have the sight. Pretty much everybody does except poor Lyriel. But then she finds the best character after Mogget, the disreputable dog, and the 2 of them battle around and in her little area, and then she is told to go out into the world, and she meets Sabriel's son and has a little adventure with him. And Mogget is in it as well. We love Mogget. And Touchstone And you meet some new characters, some friends of Sam's, and some new villains. And yeah. And it sort of ends on a cliffhanger because the third book, Abortion, I found out later, finishes it. And it was supposed to be one whole book, but Garth Nix was like, this is really big, so we'll split it up. Again, I don't know why I didn't like it as much. Tim Curry, of course, the narrator, fantastic. I believe he did the first one, and I believe he does the third one. But I don't think he does any more after that. I liked everything with Lyriel and the disreputable dog. I wanted more of that. It cuts between her and Sam, Sabriel's son, who I wasn't as fond of, especially in the beginning. I grew to like his parts more, but at first I was like, I don't really care. I want to know more about Lyriel and what she's up to with the dog. So yeah, Sam has his own issues. He is to be the abortion in waiting, and he doesn't want to be. He's afraid of death, and I feel, from what I've read on the wiki and stuff, abortions aren't afraid of death because they walk in it all the time. So he doesn't know how to tell anybody, and it's just like a whole thing. And he's only 16 or 17, I think. Maybe 16. But I think it's 17 because he graduates and all that stuff. But Lyriel's only like 18 or 19 at the end of the book, and so they're both just kids. But I don't know, I didn't like Sam's part at the beginning, and it took me a while to get used to not having Lyriel, who I thought was more interesting at the time. But I think I'm gonna actually, I read Sabriel once and got rid of it, but I think I'm gonna buy and try to read it, even though I do love Tim Curry. So, I don't know. I think maybe if I read it, it might help. I get that way sometimes with audiobooks. I like it, but it doesn't really like sink in, and I have to like read it to really get it. So, yeah, those were the two audiobooks I read. I put them in my lovely pile sheet. Oh, I should tell you reading stats. I should have started with that. I forgot. So I read 5 books. I read 1,294 pages. 27 hours I listened to. As of right now, I've read 33% audiobook and 66% physical. Do they have one? And I've read 66% owned, so that's good. So yeah, and now the physical books. Like I said, I was kind of in a reading slump, but I read Winter's Orbit by Everina Maxwell, and it totally got me out of my slump. I read it in like 4 hours. I just devoured it. It is, oh, my bookmark's still in there. It was I don't know if it was a fan fiction or if it was just on AO3 at some point. Yes, and it was original work on AO3. That's Archive of Our Own. But it reads like fan fiction, but I mean that in the best possible way. It has all those tropes of fan fiction that I love. Like, miscommunication, but not in like just about the romance aspect, not about like the actual stuff that they're investigating in here. There's only one bed. Love that trope. It's sort of an arranged / forced / fake marriage. I mean, it's a real marriage, but whatever. And it's in space. There's they get lost and it's not in the snow, and they have to, for warmth, that's their one bed thing. There was only one tent. It was great. And they like slowly fall in love with each other, and they're like, oh, you don't love me, you don't love, they really, perfection. It's the best kind of fan fiction. So what happens, this is the Iskat Empire. It doesn't say Earth or anything, so just imagine in a distant galaxy. A prince is killed, and his widower, Janan, I believe, is rushed into an arranged marriage with Kim, who was like Tam's cousin, because he's still a prince. Because Janan is from a different planet, or part of the Empire, but like they marry into the Empire to keep it under control. So the Empire's the big thing, and then they have like arranged marriages, and then like, oh, but we're family now, you can't attack me. But Tam's death may not have been an accident, and Janan is a suspect, so he and Kim work together to figure out what the fuck happened. The Emperor, my favorite thing, is a woman, but she's still called the Emperor. So I like that. Is there a list of things in this book? Or... And Kim is, at one point he was disreputable, as it says, but now he's trying to get rid of that, but people still don't believe it. So Janan is like, oh, you're just a flake, and Janan is like super smart, and Kim's like, I'm not smart, what the fuck, what are we going to talk about, that kind of stuff. But eventually it all works out in the end. There is, unfortunately, some abuse towards Janan. The government is shit, once again. Even in the future in an empire, they are shit. And then it's sort of weird. It's not fully explained, which I kind of like, but I also want to know more. And maybe Ocean's Echo, which I'm going to be reading in April, will have some more. There's the Empire, right? And they are connected to these other worlds. They're sort of in the Empire, but not. It's complicated. And then there's like a gate. Not like a Stargate, but like a warp gate that they can travel to. And I think Janan's planet is close to that, which is why they want... But the Empire is just like in one little section of the galaxy. And there are other bigger empires in other sections of the galaxy. And there's this sort of neutral force that goes through, and one reason why Janan and Kim have to get married is because they're coming to see that the Empire is stable so they can have access to the gate. And if they don't, then the other empires will come through and eat up our Iskat Empire. So I like that there's like a sort of neutral entity that everybody's freaked out about. They're like, oh my god, they're so weird. They have like weird outfits, and they're just weird. And they sort of like control the universe through these gates, and it's like, I won't let you have access, ha ha ha. So that's part of it as well. It's just a really good book. I enjoyed it. It definitely got me out of my slump. And then, I decided to continue that trend of LGBTQIA. So I read A Taste of Gold and Iron by Alexandra Rowland, which is set in their Chant universe. I just found this out too. I previously read... A Conspiracy of Truths, and I want to read its sequel, A Choir of Lies, but it's set in the Chance and the Wide World. But it's like its own thing as well. And this was also fan fiction at its best. There is definitely one bed only. There is like not enemies to lovers, but like this one. doesn't like this one at first. But it's not enemies. They're just like, ugh. I don't know what that equivalence is, so I guess we'll just say enemies to lovers. Kadu is this one. He's a shy prince, and he is one of the people who can taste gold and coins by touching them, hence the title. And this man at his side is Evemir, right here. And so what happens is his sister, the Sultan, again, it's his sister who's a Sultan, usually a male title. There's no map, but it's sort of like, as you can tell from this and this kind of stuff, it's Middle Eastern inspired. It's deserty, kind of. They have harbors. But they also have, where they're from, Kaidu and the Sultan, his sister, have, they're like economy based. Their gold is known for being pure, and their economy sustains the rest of the empire's economy, basically. That's not an empire, but the other countries, they know if they get gold from them, it's good. And she has I believe they call it a body, it's not a husband. He keeps saying husband, but it's not. They're not married. They just had sex, and she had his baby. He is the father, but in Kaidu's culture, he is not the father until they get married, and the Sultan says so specifically. And he does not like Kaidu, who's just a sweet, gentle soul, pushed into things he doesn't want, and he's just picking on the guy and his, not Evemir, but his other guys. Oh, I forgot what they're called. Fuck up real bad, and Kaidu is almost exiled, but he has to basically, he can't see his sister for a long time. Like, it really fucks him up really bad. So he's got, like, mental health issues with that. What are they called? Oh my gosh. But Evemir is, they're sort of like, they're an army because they protect the royals, Kaidu and his sister and the baby. But they're also like, they're butlers. Like, they dress them, they brush their hair, they're taught how to dress them and brush their hair and all that kind of stuff. So they're like bodyguards slash more. And Evemir has heard not great things about Kadu because of this incident with his niece's father. And everybody sort of is like, thinks less of him now, so he takes that really to heart, and it's sort of, it breaks him a lot. He gets like anxiety, panic attacks, but they're not called that because he calls it like cowardice, and I'm like, it's not cowardice, it's a panic attack, they're different. What else is there? He has a lovely friendship with his people, like the people that work for him specifically. They trust him and all that kind of stuff. And he's also in charge of the harbors for some reason. And that comes into the little mystery that's going on that he has to be in charge of. And things go from there. There's also a lady who, I can't remember what region they're from, but they know if you can speak falsely. So they know if you tell a lie, basically. It's pretty cool. There's some badass ladies in here, and of course there's a romance. He meets his mother. Kadu meets Evemir's mother in like the worst circumstances, and they share a bed. There was only one bed. But yeah, it was a really great book. I quite enjoyed it. I felt sorry for Kadu, and it took like a lot for him to finally stand up for himself, basically. And then finally I read Sweet and Bitter Magic by Adrienne Tooley, another LGBTQIA plus romance between our lovely two female protagonists. And again, it read like fan fiction, not in a bad way, like the other two books. Was there only one bed? I don't think there was a... Oh, was there? There might have been an only one bed moment. I can't remember. If it was, it wasn't made as a big deal as the other two. No, there was an only one bed moment. Oh my god. I can't believe I forgot. And this one is enemies to lovers. So, where is it? Yes. Tamsin does something horrible. Oh, there is a map though. Tamsin is a witch, and they live within, right here. All magic people do. And Tamsin does something horrible when she's a child, and instead of getting killed, they kick her out. And she has to live with the rest of the humans. And she's also cursed to never love. So, instead of money, she takes love from people to fix things. So she's not a bad person, but she's not a great person in the beginning, obviously. And then Ren is a source, which like a source of magic, basically. And she should be within, but she's not because of family problems. And then a curse sweeps over the land, which makes people basically forget, Ren's dad forgets who she is, and he's like, okay, who are you? And then they die, eventually. And Ren doesn't want her dad to die, so she asks Tamsin to help her. And Tamsin goes, sure, but I'm going to take the love you have for your father in return. And it's sealed with these ribbons. And then they go off on a trip to find out how to stop the curse. Because curses are a big deal. There was one before Ren was born. Ren and Tamsin. And it was pretty bad. Everybody can still, remember it. So, yeah. I liked it. There's some stuff that happens that I thought happened maybe too quickly. It's not a very long book. I'm not saying that they didn't fall in love quickly. It took a while, and it was sort of a slow burn type of romance, but there's some plot beats that happen kind of quickly, I thought. But I did like the ending. I thought the magic system was pretty interesting, how there are sources and then witches. Even though Tamsin, she's super powerful. And even she can draw from Ren and become even more powerful, which I liked. I liked that a lot. And it was just a sweet little romance, and, it ended happily ever after, which is all you can ask for. And, yeah, I liked it. I just thought the plot got wrapped up a little quickly. That's all. Those were the books I read. I'm so proud of myself. I read 3 books I own, so check those off. Yeah. And that is it. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you're having a great day. And I'll see you next time. Bye.